out there, YouTube? This is SEL0320 representing JVS. It's a long overdue review. This is for the movie Zootopia. Believe it or not, I've been really waiting to watch this. I actually looked at 10 Cloverfield Lane before I watched this and some other things. But I love Disney. Whether y'all know it or not, like I was a big advocate for Big Hero 6. I actually like Frozen. I own a whole library and plethora of like Disney memorabilia and movies. Like I think I just bought the Aladdin 2 and 3. Who does that, really? So, but either way, I was really excited to see what they were going to do about this for two different reasons. One, I looked at the dynamics of a bunny and a fox, seemingly kind of looking like they're working together. And then just the scope of this world, you know what I'm saying? So I think that's a really good segue to start this off. I think that the look and the feel of Zootopia just in itself, when you find out what Zootopia actually is, which is actually a city, and different locations of the city are catered to the demographics of the races of the different animals. And I think that they did such an amazing job from a visual standpoint, because you might have like certain animals that can only be catered to like the rainforest. Some animals might be catered to like a frozen environment. You might have some animals that are more domestic and they can ward around international. But at the same exact time, even the world and the way that the animals actually interact, I think the animation was great, because the voice actors worked very well with the animation style. Like whenever you see, like, there's this one scene where this character named Flash and Judy Hopps and the character, I forgot his name, what is his name? Nick. They kind of go and try to meet up with Flash, and he's working with the DMV, and he's just like seemingly trying to talk really slow, and it's so funny, but it works well because of the voice acting and well as the animation. Otherwise, it kind of be like, it wouldn't work with certain things in the past and how they actually had like certain cartoon 2D animation. This worked really well with this. Not just that, the dynamics of even the way that Judy interacts with the world, the way she has to kind of figure out, as small as she is, how she can be a cop, how she can be able to maneuver around. And not just that, like there's a lot of interesting action set pieces. Like there's some dark things that kind of happen towards the second act that kind of like have you like at the edge of your seat. They don't go too far, but it's really well paced as far as the action, and then even the dynamics of the certain subtle moments. And so even like the soundtrack, there was a moment where Judy was kind of dealing with some really hard times. That's the best way I can say it. Life-altering hard times. And they use those subtle cues to make sure it's silent. At the same time, the rhythm of it goes really well. And I think that they did a great job with it. I wish I would have seen it in 3D. Looking at it now makes me really want to go back and check it out in 3D. So I think I will. Already I can say this is a buy for me. But let's go into the voice actor. So you got Judy Hopps. The voice actor for her is, whether you know the show Once Upon a Time, Snow White herself. I think I pronounce her name. I think it's Ginnifer, not Jennifer. Goodwin. She does a great job as Judy Hopps, because Judy, unlike regular characters, she's a really strong female character. That's what I've actually been loving about the about literally in the film genre in and of itself. Like you've got Ray, you got Furiosa. I mean, even in the movie Room, and even like the last movie I looked at, 10 Cloverfield Lane, you got these strong female characters. And the thing about Judy Hopps in this movie, she's dealing with some real world things that most people deal with from adversity. Whether you're a female, or whether you're trying to make it in the world and people have told you all your life you're going to be this, or maybe you come from like a small town like myself, and like you don't know how you're going to make it out. But she dares to believe that she can make it, and like she makes it her life mission to do so. And the thing that is the interesting thing about her character is the fact that she also develops levels of fear and a stigma as to how certain animals are perceived in her environment, and specifically foxes. And it's an interesting thing because Jason Bateman plays the character of Nick Wilde, and Nick Wilde is a fox, and he's a sly fox. Literally, you know, and their dynamics and their interaction is great chemistry. There's a lot of lessons that are brought to the forefront that you don't expect, because it's not just Judy Hopps' dynamics of trying to make it in the world. You also get a glimpse into what Nick is perceived as from the outside world. And I think that that was one of the best things about it. And I think that Bateman and Goodwin do a really good job of fleshing that out. A lot of other voice actors I didn't expect, such as Idris Elba, that was the Chief Bogo. You had Jenny Slate, that was I think she was a sheep, working with the mayor. Even the mayor was freaking J.K. Simmons, Mayor Lionheart, literally a lion. There's so many voice actors in this. I think there was Alan Tudyk from Firefly. I think Kristen Bell was in it. Kristen Bell, not Christian Bell. Josh Dallas, he's also in Once Upon a Time, plays Prince Charming. He was actually in it as a voice actor. I think he was the pig. He's like some kind of random pig. But there was so many voice actors. The thing about this movie is I haven't seen these many voice actors like this since I want to say Happy Feet and The Lion King. Like they really take advantage of the talent that they have as far as the actors, and they play it out so well and funny that it's really dynamic. But the thing about this is a big segue into the story. The story is not just about Judy. It centers around her because she's kind of on the outside trying to make it in, but when she finally gets in, she understands that the world around her is not as easy or forthcoming or perfect as she perceived it to be. She was thinking that getting out of her situation would make things better for herself, and she finds out that even though you have great ambitions for something, that one idea can create all these other kind of flustering things that shake you from your foundation from a life standpoint. That's the thing about how smart this movie is. Whether you know it or not, like I just recently did a video about my different struggles. Like the video's title is African American, male, and Christian. And it's like, how do I deal with the fact that all those we're identified with, but yet at the same time interact with the world? And the thing about this movie is that Judy is kind of in that same situation where she has like her perspective on how the world's supposed to work, how people perceive her, how she's kind of belittled. And the movie is so smart because it deals with all those different stereotypes, it deals with all those different problems and relatable issues that happen in the real world. Like when you're trying to even be in your work environment, when you're around your family. Like they touch on all these different things. But then not just that. One thing that I was actually intrigued about, I was looking at the commercials, I was like, is there some, like connection going on between like Judy and Nick, the fox? And I was like, foxes eat like rabbits, you know what I'm saying? And the thing about it is, when you find out like what's the real struggle and what's the real enemy, like it's a really smart tale in the way that they actually play about it. It could have went a whole different way. But I will say that I was actually kind of springboarding for potential like love interest kind of thing, and I think that they catered to that really well with some of the things I've seen recently, like Flash and even like Star Wars, where like Rey and Finn, it's implied that they really love each other, they really care for each other, but there's not any real romantic ties that can actually pinpoint that. Well, this is kind of the same dynamic with Nick and Judy. Even though you don't know certain things about Nick, you'll find out towards the end. Their chemistry, it caters to that. And I was like, how is this working? Because I was like, they have great chemistry, they could be together, but it just shouldn't work. And that's one of the things I loved about this movie, is that these animals and the way that they interact, they've become civil, they become evolved, and they are working together as a unit. And it unifies the prospect that that's something that we as humans now in this world should and can do. And that's one of the things that I think I love about this movie. I just pray and hope that people look at this and look at it from the dynamics of like how we perceive each other, how we have our own stereotypes, how we can at times be a little too stereotypical and understanding of empathy or captivation of who should be here, who shouldn't be, and that movie plays really well on that. And I think that because it's so smart and because the animation style was so good, it's a classic in its own right, and it definitely well deserves all the money it's getting. So for me, I give it an 8.5 out of 10. I really love Zootopia. I think I'm going to try to do a spoiler-filled review real quick on it. Hopefully y'all enjoyed this non-spoiler review for Zootopia. Keep it locked. JVS, we ain't going to stop. I'll see y'all tonight on The Vampire Does Not. Actually, no, sorry. The Walking Dead. Peace.